liberation greetings to all and sundry, my people of Amazonia, my dear people of the southern Cameroons, our fellow brave warriors of our liberation movement. Accept liberation greetings today from me, Comrade John Akuro. And the date of today is February 17, 2024. And of course, today is a Saturday. I want to begin by apologizing for my long delay to come back to this platform. It's really not easy, like I say always. If you look out there, you will notice that the situation of our refugees in Nigeria has really gone so bad with the economic situation in Nigeria, the crash of the naira, and all of those things, and then the conflicts that our people are having with the settlers, with the Nigerian people, the local population, is really not easy. A lot of our people have been kicked out of the various camps where they are. Some are actually staying the night under the moon, and even having something to eat has become too complicated. And that is why I pleaded on this platform that I really needed a lot of support. We need a lot of support to help these people, not only to provide them food, but also to really get them settled and really to make them have that feel of the solidarity that is really particular, that is peculiar of the people of Amazonia, of the people of the southern Cameroons. And so, like I said here, sometimes, a devoted few really have to take extra hours to try and see how to build the resources to assist these people, but we can all do it together. And so it's becoming increasingly difficult to be here all the time when you see people crying and they really need help. That's why I called on you to alleviate this pain. Help me on this platform by providing for our people who are prisoners of war and those who are refugees in places where they really cannot work, where they will only depend on our little contributions to have what to eat, to take care of their health, and sometimes even to have a place to sleep. So please, 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 my people, let's continue to show that solidarity. And if you want to support us here, I don't take money directly because I don't need it for myself. That's why I asked you to send it to the Amber Relief 2018 at gmail.com, to the Amazonia Relief Fund. I contribute to inside there, so we use it in taking care of our people on the ground. So please, please, please do your best and let us continue to rise to the occasion for our people. And so that said, I'm delighted once more to be here with all of us, to have the opportunity for us to have, to talk the situation of the southern Cameroons. I've read from quite some people on Facebook that they have the feeling that I appear to be talking just to a few people and to myself, because of the thousands of people who are here maybe are not too who watch are not too representative of the people who should be listening on the ground. But I trust that when you watch, you share the link, we will get to as many people as possible, because this is the best channel to reach them, because anytime they can turn back, click on the link at their convenience, and they'll be able to get this message. And all the same, I continue to do the audio versions at the same time as I'm doing this live broadcast, so that at the end of this live broadcast, I send out the audio version, which is easy to share, so that I can reach to as many people as possible who have difficulties getting the megabytes or the gigabytes to watch the live show. And so please, let's continue to share. Let the sharing be our duty, because this information is so vital. And I bet you, if you're just joining in this broadcast right now, I will pray that you really take time to share this link, because today's slot is going to be exceptionally short, because what I'm discussing today is really fundamental and too important for our liberation movement. That's why I decided to do just one issue today, so that it's really not too long, so that it's easy to share, so that our people open their eyes and know where we are, so that those who are playing, those who have been joking, those who have been sleeping regarding this liberation movement should get out of their long slumber and understand that, frankly speaking, what we are involved in is really not a child's play, and that La République du Cameroun, every single individual in that country, they know what we think, They know what we will do if given the chance, and for that reason, they are determined to use every means to annihilate us. It is important for you to know this, and when you know, you will understand exactly how to act and how to behave. Before getting to the beef of our discussion today, let's share this thought. If money and material things make you believe you are better than others, you are the poorest person on earth. Now I take it over. If money and material things make you believe you are better than others, you are the poorest person on earth. Look, folks, I share these thoughts sometimes because they actually have a relevance to our liberation movement. You see, some in our communities have sold their souls to the devil for money. And because they think that because they have that money and those material things, they are better than you and I. And for that reason, we can go to hell. And for that reason, we should subject or subjugate or allow ourselves to be subjugated into slavery and servitude so they continue to get those little crumbs. Even within the ranks of this liberation movement, there are people who have come in. They stood on the pulpits. They screamed Ambazonia morning, afternoon, evening. But by the time they showed them the color of a brown envelope, they did not think twice. They told themselves, this is exactly what I've been looking for. And once they get it, you see some of them will buy flashy cars. Some of them will even use and buy homes. I heard one said that he had used the money, relocated to West Virginia, bought himself a home, and all of those things. I was telling other people, if you come on board, I'll help you to get, they get me 35 million, they get me 36 million, and things like that. But just look at that. If you sit at the end of the day and you tell yourself that this money and these material things I have now make me better than other people, then indeed, you are so poor and stupid in spirit. Because it is a spirit of sacrifice that makes a lot of us in this liberation movement continue to stand strong, continue to stand for the collective good, continue to stand for what we know is real, and continue to stand for the truth. Folks, don't ever backslide in this liberation movement. We need each and every one of us on board because kicking La République du Cameroun out of our territory is more important than anything else, any other consideration that can come to my mind. That said, I want to make this statement regarding the situation in Guzan. First, allow me to continue to express my sympathy, to express, the emotions that are felt at the loss of our braveheart General Efang, who was the supreme commander of the ADF's forces on Ground Zero. Listen, folks, anytime any of ours falls to the bullet of La République du Cameroun, it definitely must dishearten us and dishearten us beyond limits. Braveheart Efang has done his part. He did his job. He coordinated his guys. They were not all angels. They definitely had excesses and things that we did not like. Now he is gone. La République du Cameroun, in its true fashion, always running back to the French playbook, to the playbook of France, will do some of the things that we have seen by desecrating even the remains of someone whom they pulled out of the hospital bed, tortured to pulp, and then eventually killed. But even after that, they won't allow his remains to be buried. They won't allow his loved ones to give him even the last piece of dignity that the human being should deserve. They decide to desecrate his corpse. Before Braveheart Efang, they did that to Braveheart Bitakola in Kumba. I could see them display the remains of Braveheart Bitakola in Kumba, and it was a very disheartening scene. But folks, make no mistake, La République du Cameroun on doing that is playing the mind games that they are very used to. This is exactly what they did in the days of the Maquisards, that the French actually worked with them to do in the days of the Maquisards in the Bamileke region. They will take their people, come and even put them and do public firing squads. When they fire, when they shoot them, they display their corpses, sometimes even their heads in the community, with the objective of instilling fear, of bringing panic, of breaking the morale of the people, of humiliating the people, of downgrading the people, so that they will make the people be too afraid that they will not want to continue rising against them. That is from the playbook of France. But trust me, folks, we will never ever let La République du Cameroun overcome us. All those games are things that we have seen before, and you put them in the register of what is called déjà vu. We wave them aside, we continue to fight. They did that in Kumba, and the people, our brave hearts in Meme County, have not relented even an inch. Of course, you heard the incidents that were taking place there just 2 days ago. They did that to the remains of General Ivor. Recall, they carried his body, threw it on the ground there in Kumba, turned around, and finally took it away. Until today, no one knows where they went to with the remains of General Ivor. They did that same thing to General Ayeka. They carried General Ayeka, they flew him all his remains all the way from Kupemwanengu, from Lebialem to Kumba. And of course, they did that too with the field marshal of Lebialem, that they brought the remains to for desecration. Those things have not worked. They haven't worked, and they will not work. So we have to continue to remain focused. We have to continue to remain strong. Listen, folks, all these brave hearts, we will remember them. Those who will stay alive and may not be alive at the time we really seal the deal and take back our country. But when I say we, I mean the people of the southern Cameroon, the people of Ambazonia. We will remember every single brave heart that fell, and there will be monuments. There will be all kinds of things that will be done to keep memory of these people alive. Now, that said, I have this other concern. Following the disgraceful display of the remains of Braveheart Efang in Guzan, I followed an audio by members of the ADF, by self-defense volunteers of the ADF in Guzan, saying that the Guzan market was going to be shut indefinitely. Listen, folks, I must say this here. When we are faced with a situation like this one, we have to respond. We have to respond. We have to act. That we have to let La République du Cameroun know that they will never go unpunished. First, they will have to leave our land. So while we reflect on the strategy to respond, impetuous decisions are absolutely unacceptable. I mean, impetuous decisions are absolutely unacceptable. So saying that the population of Guzan will be punished because La République du Cameroun brought the remains of Braveheart Efang to display in their land, it's simply, I don't want to qualify it, but it's a misguided decision. It's a misguided approach to the issue. You can't say the Guzan market will be shut indefinitely when an act is carried out by a heavily armed enemy and where the population is powerless. One thing we need to note is that by bringing those remains to display there, first, the people are traumatized. You should know this. Efang was one of theirs. The people are traumatized, thoroughly traumatized. So that is already a downside to the people. Point number two, you have children and all who are seeing these remains. I mean, this thing will have a horrible effect on them for generations to come. That's number two. Number three, it is a humiliation on the people themselves. And then therefore, you should note that these people, they have no power to stop La République du Cameroun from doing that. And when La République du Cameroun brings, it is to influence the minds of these same people, to turn them against their own aspirations for freedom, to turn them against their decision to fight slavery and servitude. Therefore, folks, you know, when they came, place that those remains, they will make as if they are gone. No, they are seated around in armored cars for some time, which is visible. After some time, they will disappear into bushes, hiding to spot to see who will come close to want to take those remains away, so that you to become a casualty. And don't forget, sometimes even on such remains, they have planted explosives that will kill whoever comes close, or they have put things that will be harmful to whoever comes close. This is a jeopardy on the lives of the people of Guzan. And for the ADF, therefore, to come up again and say they will shut the Guzan market until further notice, this is double jeopardy. And that one now is a shot on our own leg. It's a thing we cannot afford. So I'm using this platform to urge the management, to urge the command chain of the ADF and the management or the cabinet of the AGOC to reverse course on this decision with immediate effect, because it will not be helpful for our liberation movement. It will rather be counterproductive. Oh yes, comrade, I can see your comment. Yeah, I can see your comment. You're asking me, Mr. Akuro, why are you saying this here? Why don't you reach out to your brother, comrade Cho Ayaba, to discuss these things in the background? Well, I know comrade Cho Ayaba usually watches my shows. He generally watches them. And of course, you find out that I have good collaboration with almost everyone, I should say, but everyone in this liberation movement. That's why you find out some of the shows are even broadcast too on the ACN TV of the AGOC. Now, responding to your question head on, I've made several attempts to reach out to comrade Cho Ayaba. For several months today, he neither picks the calls, nor returns the messages, nor even behaves as if he has seen. And the latest attempts were yesterday, February 16, 2024. I called comrade Cho Ayaba around 6 times. Of course, I could see him on all the time. I called around 6 times. He did not pick. I left him a voice note expressing the concerns that I'm expressing here right now. I don't see any indication he has played it. I left text messages to follow up to tell him I want us to discuss this issue. He has never reacted. Let me say this. You see, while we are fighting a despotic system, we have to avoid functioning like those despots that we are fighting against. If you see somebody like Kavaye Jibril in La Republique du Cameroun take but the pulpit, because sometimes they took the pulpit of the National Assembly of La Republique du Cameroun to raise issues he was expected to raise with the president of their country, Mr. Post-Biya, but he couldn't get the access to Mr. Post-Biya, so he spoke in the public. So if I'm unable to get to comrade Cho Ayaba, with whom we have been functioning at the level of leadership in this liberation movement, then I should be able to address the concerns right here. Because if he can't talk to me on one-on-one, at least you'll be able to listen to me here. No attempts to be derogatory to anybody. But we can't transform ourselves into, should I say, we can't build a wall around ourselves and then we expect that we have to work together to liberate a country. That really has never worked anywhere. It wouldn't work even within our own framework. And again, don't forget, we are at war, folks. When we build those personality cults around us and tell ourselves, oh, I'm so supreme, you need to talk to my subordinates, you need to talk to my this and that, you forget. Sometimes someone can be calling you for your own same safety because of who we are fighting against. This is something that we must bear in mind. So I want to come out of that particular subject matter by reiterating here that the decision to shut down the Guzan market is wrong. Absolutely wrong. And I say it, in very absolute terms, it is wrong. And I want to make clear, it will lead to resistance because the population will not accept it. We can't hide behind the fact that we're saying the fun of Guzan participated with La Republique. The Front of Guzan could not have any power to stop La Republique du Cameroon forces from coming to do what they had done in Guzan. As I cited before, they have done that elsewhere. But the people took different strategies to punish La Republique du Cameroun. And of course, the ADF in Bui, in working with the Bui Unity Warriors, are already punishing La Republique du Cameroun. Yesterday, as I'm talking, February 16, I got information from the Bamenda General Hospital about body bags of La Republique du Cameroun soldiers being brought in from Bui. That is the punishment we should give them. We should not punish our own people. Those who are on the field, who are carrying those sticks to defend the community, know exactly how they will punish La République du Cameroun for this despicable act. But if we turn against the population, I assure you, it will be met with resistance. The resistance will be very stiff. So let's not go down that route. I know we are better than this. Of course, I know that Comrade Cho Ayaba does understand some of these things. When we were able to talk, we generally talked about the need to put the people first. So I think he will remember, and I guess that watching this show, he will definitely go back to the audio that I dropped in to understand exactly what I proposed so that we should overcome this challenge. Now that said, folks, let's move into the beef of our communication of today. Some time ago, I came to this platform and I dissected a video which was an outing of Professor Maurice Kamto of La République du Cameroun, where he had an exchange with the citizens of La République du Cameroun, and of course where he was distorting our history with all his might. At that time, I made clear that while some people have been claiming that they see in Kamto a man who will come and be able to, sit on the table with the people of the Southern Cameroons to negotiate, I made clear here that Professor Maurice Kamto is worse than Post-Biya. Underline the word worse than Post-Biya when it comes to the situation of the people of the Southern Cameroons. Listen, I reminded us here that Maurice Kamto in other spaces had said, Le Cameroun a déjà fait son histoire. According to him, La République du Cameroun, as it were, has already done its history and they have nothing to discuss or negotiate with anybody. When you hear him talk about federation and all of those things, it is coy. We don't even need federation. We don't. We had gone past that a long time ago. We had gone past that a long time ago. Do you know why I say Professor Maurice Kamto is worse than Post-Biya? Because more than Post-Biya, Professor Maurice Kamto knows that the Bakassi Peninsula was declared by the ICJ to belong to Cameroon because the people who own the land, the Southern Cameroons, are in whatever form of union with La République du Cameroun. Professor Maurice Kamto knows that he had to use the map, the demarcations of the British Southern Cameroons at the ICJ to fight for the Bakassi Peninsula. They will never tell you the truth of what it is. This is why often here I have quoted Professor Olinga, who taught me at ERIC Public International Law, and who shocked the Francophone students in class, that the students of La République du Cameroun in that class at ERIC, in response to a question when some of us were complaining about the language issues that they always will come and teach about 100% in French and then they said, no. One of the students said, no, we are supposed to learn the French because we are part of their country and are supposed by right to know the French, because by the time we came, we knew that was a language spoken in their country. To which Professor Alain Didier Olinga, that's his name, his full name, Alain Didier Olinga, said, you have to be very careful with such assertions because the people of the Southern Cameroons are a people under international law. And he went on to explain exactly what that means. And he said Once public international law recognizes people as a people, those people have a full right to self-determination. They can seek to assert it at any time. And he, of course, quoted the ruling of the Human Rights Court at Banjul in the Gambia, which asked the government of Cameroon to open discussions with the people of the southern Cameroons because we are a people. So, what I'm saying here is fundamental because I'd like you to listen to this short video by Maurice Kamto and I will explain to you exactly why it is too important. Let's go on.
Human rights law in Plymouth University. He wants to know from you, Professor, will you allow a referendum to be held in the Anglophone regions if you become president to all these people so that all these people decide either to become independent or remain with the entire country?
No, because I don't see the problem in that terms.
Now I want to stop first right there. Did you get the no? Very emphatic. That is Maurice Kamto. A very emphatic no. If he's president of La République du Cameroun, he will never ever allow for a referendum to be held in the southern Cameroons. Him who? Let's listen. Because at the end of this, I want us to draw very stark and very important lessons. But what we're going to hear is, if Maurice Kamto, well, that Democrat, it seems he claims he is, with that level-headed person, he wouldn't say no. Because it is not him, Maurice Kamto, to decide. You know what a referendum is? A referendum is an opportunity given to a people to express their opinions about an issue. Too often, it will be an issue of governance, on how they want to be governed. At some points, it will be an issue to determine whether they want to belong to some place with some people or not. It is not incumbent on Mr. Maurice Kamto to decide for the millions of people of the southern Cameroons. Just that emphatic no should tell you already that Maurice Kamto does not see us as a people who have the capacity, who should have the power, who should, participate in deciding our fate. He, Maurice Kamto, will decide for us. That's why you hear that emphatic no. Let's pull on.
I have been very clear and vocal on that issue. I will do my best. I will give what it takes to maintain Cameroon a single country.
Now, I will do my best. I will do what it takes to maintain Cameroon a single country. Now listen to that. If you want to maintain Cameroon a single country, Mr. Kamto, that is not our problem. Your country, Cameroon, knows its boundaries. It knows who are part of their country. And the people of the southern Cameroons, for your information, are not part of your country. So for Mr. Kamto wanting to maintain Cameroon one as it is, it's not even a problem to the people of the southern Cameroons. We are not part of it. But if he is saying that with the mind that it involves the people of the southern Cameroons, he knows how we came into the union. He knows therefore that it was not one, no, it was two. And that is why Professor Keremuna wrote an article to tell them, listen, when you say one, an indivisible Cameroon, which of the Cameroons are you talking about? Because there were two that came together. There was Southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroun. If you are talking about maintaining your La République du Cameroun as one, fine. No business. Nobody has any crisis on that. But say I will give all it takes, do everything to maintain Cameroon one as it is. The message Professor Kamto is telling you and me is that he will do everything to maintain you and me under annexation. He will do everything to ensure that you and me remain the slaves of La République du Cameroun forever. That is what Kamto is saying here. He will do everything to keep us where we are. Of course, he knows that we don't belong there. So when Professor Kamto says this kind of thing, I assure you that he will be a bigger hawk than Mr. Post-Biya, because already he has seen results of surveys that have made clear that our people don't want to have anything to do with La République du Cameroun. Don't tell me that Kamto did not read the report sent out by the late venerated Christian Cardinal Toumi, being a result of a survey conducted on the grounds in the southern Cameroon. It did not include the diaspora, where 69% of the people wrote, because they are not given the option to even choose on that what they want is absolute independence. Don't tell me Maurice Kamto did not see it. No, don't tell me he didn't read it. If he didn't, don't tell me also that Maurice Kamto did not read the report of a survey conducted by the CDN. It was ordered by the CDN and conducted by SurveyMonkey, a New York-based organization with a very big reputation. And over 80% of those interviewed, and they were in their thousands, said it is absolute independence. They want to have anything to do with La République du Cameroun. Don't tell me Maurice Kamto did not see this. But if he saw all of this and still says what he is saying, then the message should be getting from Maurice Kamto is that if he is president of La République du Cameroun, he is promising you and me more war. Because the only way he holds us will be against our will. And he is given the opportunity here to say, if he will go out there to placate our people so that they decide that no, we want to stay with La République du Cameroun on new terms, on new approaches, on the promises made by Maurice Kamto, we now want to formally sign a treaty of union with La République du Cameroun. Hell, Kamto said, I don't have to consult you. I will decide for you. Let's listen on.
Single nation. Let me be very clear on that. I don't play politics with the lives of people. I would not try to fool anyone and to let him imagine we'll go and organize a referendum to give a chance to some people to say they wouldn't like to be part of Cameroon. No.
Did you hear that? He says, I will never do such a thing. To go to give a chance to some people in a referendum to decide that they no longer want to be part of Cameroon. Of course, you hear what he says. His statement is subjective because Maurice Kamto knows, he already concludes that he knows what will be the outcome, the result of such a referendum. That's why you say to give a referendum, some people to come and decide that they no longer want to be part of Cameroon. So he knows. And because he knows what has happened, he knows the mindset of the people. He understands beyond reasonable doubt that in any referendum organized any day, anytime, anyhow, on basis of what has happened this far, the people of the southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonia, will never ever vote to stay with La République du Cameroun. And conscious of this, therefore, Maurice Kamto says more war. That's exactly what he's not saying. That's what you are not hearing well. That's why I'm here to help you hear exactly what he is saying. Because the reading that Maurice Kamto is saying is what he has just not opened his mouth clearly to say. The real thing Maurice Kamto is saying is he is offering us more war. Either we accept to be part of his country in a kind of federation framed by himself, or more war. That's what this means. Listen again.
My approach is to do the maximum to give autonomy to our brothers and sisters from the northwest and southwest to manage their own affairs in the framework of Cameroon.
Did you hear that? The most insultive language is this one that I just heard now. That he will give us autonomy. Give. Give. La République du Cameroun and the sovereign people, to quote Comrade Bo Herbert, as he always says, the sovereign people of the former UN Trust territory of British Southern Cameroons came into an agreement in 1961 to get into a union of two countries in a federation of two parties equal in status. How do we find ourselves today at that place where one of the parties is now talking of giving autonomy, of giving something to the other? How? How did we get here, folks? This is exactly why I tell our people by day and by night. The task ahead remains daunting. The efforts we need to put in need to be multiplied. We have to, as a people, recognize that we either brutally put in everything it takes to check La République du Cameroun out of our territory, or not only us, not only our children, not only our children's children, but generations upon generations of Southern Cameroonians to come will continue to live in slavery and servitude. The countries where we live, the people there fought hard to get their freedom. If you're in the United States of America like I am, the people of the United States of America fought against the British to get their autonomy and their independence. Oh yes, 1774 to 1776, they fought and defeated the British. Freedom is never given. Anytime you hear that somebody was given freedom, trust me, it is not called freedom. That is why you have heard citizens of La République du Cameroun themselves say that they are not free. Their country is not free because France gave them something called independence, and it was not independence. It is not independence. So how can a country that is not independent, that does not even enjoy its own personal autonomy from the metropolis in France, stand to say they want to give us autonomy? This is the biggest of all insults. Because take note, and sometimes our people forget. Don't ever forget how we got to La République du Cameroun where we are today. Because in 1960, and on the 1st of January, La République du Cameroun had its independence. 1960. Without the Southern Cameroons. October 1, 1961, La République du Cameroun ceases to exist as a country. That name, La République du Cameroun, disappears. The Southern Cameroon that was achieving its independence, the Southern Cameroons also ceased to exist. The name Southern Cameroon disappeared. La République du Cameroun adopted the name the Federated State of East Cameroon. The Southern Cameroons adopted the name the Federated State of West Cameroon. And the two moved together into an entity now known as the Federal Republic of Cameroon. Where is that Federal Republic? So what happened that today we are back at something called La République du Cameroun? What happened to Southern Cameroons? Because in 1972, they changed the name from the Federal Republic of Cameroon when they decided that no, the federal nature was too expensive. Bandits, or they said, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties. And it became the United Republic of Cameroon. And then somewhere in 1984, Post-Biya said, okay, we joined with those people, we grew bigger, and now our stomach is now bigger. We can now simply swallow them and return to La République du Cameroun. If Kamto were an honest jurist, he will say here and now that in 1984, La République du Cameroun seceded from the Union and then started the colonization of the Southern Cameroons. Reason we are fighting today to decolonize our land. Get it? It should be very clear in our minds. And so therefore, for those, because this message is too important, especially to those who have been clamoring that they want a referendum. I want you therefore to know that La République du Cameroun will never sit at any given time to agree with you that yes, there should be a referendum in the Southern Cameroons unless they are forced. That's why I had moved all the time to say the only way you secure a referendum if you so badly need one, because it would definitely even end up with one, will be as part of a comprehensive peace agreement. That is when we would have dragged La République du Cameroun, I mean dragged to the negotiations table. By day and by night, I make everybody to understand. The only way La République du Cameroun will ever get to the negotiations table is that they will be dragged there. Why? Because professors like Maurice Kamto will tell them on a negotiation table, you have no argument. That's why they will never come to one. Why do they have no argument? They have nothing to justify their claim over the territory of the Southern Cameroons. Because if Kamto were to be an honest fellow, he would not say, no, I will never accept a referendum. Let's finish with him quickly and wrap up.
Whether you call it La République, as they say, because in French is how we call it. But as we have been advocating for the federal system, we support the federal approach in the resolution of the current problem in the Northwest and Southwest. So we will say we want Northwest and Southwest to remain in the Federal Republic of Cameroon or in the Federation of Cameroon. But I'm not going to organize any such referendum.
Human rights law in Plymouth.
Okay, so you got it in black and white. Don't forget, folks, in 2017 and on the 17th of January, when La République du Cameroun banned the consortium, banned the SCNC, and cut internet signals from our land, we were asking for a return to the federal system. Has anyone forgotten? Oh yes, at the level of the consortium, we were asking for a return to the federal system. There are people until this minute that I'm talking, they are rotting in jails in La République du Cameroun because they were accused of propagating federalist and secessionist ideologies. Federalist and secessionist ideologies. When you hear anyone from La République du Cameroun talk federalism, please go back to the videos I made explaining to you why they're talking about it. Because of a report that Minister Laurent Esso wrote when he returned from Belgium, where he was thoroughly humiliated by Comrade Marc Barretta and others, and he wrote a report to Mr. Post-Biya, which report I've shared here several times, in which he said the country should decriminalize talks about federalism because they will use discussions about federalism to destabilize and try to water down the efforts of those who are talking about total self-determination. That's the only reason they talk about federation. When you hear Kamto talk about that, don't dare. Anytime you settle for less than you deserve, you will end up with less than you settled for. Anytime you settle for less than you deserve, what will happen? You will end up with less than you settled for. Because take a look. The only way that entities like ours have often stayed with the entities that they came together to live with has been through referendum. If you're doubting, check it out. The people of Scotland in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, for hundreds of years, they came to an agreement to be together. But they also allowed that anytime, if the people want, they will carry out a referendum to decide on whether they want to remain part of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland or not. And to the best of my knowledge, the last time the people of Scotland, were consulted in a referendum was on the 18th of September 2014. I hope Kamto is hearing this. To hear that even in those Western nations that they are trying to use them to fight against what they can never fight against, they carry out these practices. And on September 18, 2014, this referendum took place in Scotland. Those who voted yes for Scotland to leave, to become autonomous, to become a country on its own, apart from the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, those who voted yes only represented 44.95%. And that was 114,148 people. Those who voted no and insisted no, we want to remain part of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland were 55.05%. That's 139,788. This wasn't the first time that this was happening. It has happened before. And so why did the people of Scotland, why would they continue to vote to stay within the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland? Because they feel well treated. Because they feel that they even have a measure of autonomy enough to determine their own development priorities, to take care of themselves, to determine how their society is governed, and that no one is struggling to annihilate or swallow them. That's why vote after vote to determine whether they want to stay sees them staying. And they always allow for that vote. And you go here and campaign and explain to them why they need to stay, while those who don't want to stay, explain to them why they need to go. At the end of the day, the people decide. Maurice Kamto is talking. He will be talking based on perhaps France and all of those things. But get back here and don't be mistaken. Quebec in Canada has had a number of referendums. In 1980, the people of Quebec, at the behest of France, with incitement from France, they agitated, they wanted a referendum because France has always wanted Quebec to become autonomous, to achieve self-determination as a French country in that area. But the people in 1980 voted against self-determination. Why? Because the Quebecois feel as being an integral part of larger Canada. Because the Quebecois already enjoy so much autonomy that they don't think they really need, to push the button right up to the extent of self-determination. But all the same, the need, the desire to be independent has continued to grow. And so just 15 years after, in 1980, they had a referendum. In 1995, the people of Quebec had another referendum. Can Kamto hear me? They had another referendum, still with incitement from France. So they should decide whether they want to remain part of Canada or be independent. In 1995, the results were thus. Those who voted yes, that they wanted to be autonomous, there were 2,308,360 people, representing 49.42%. They almost got there, representing 49.42%. Those who said no, we think we should remain within Canada, were 2,361,648, representing 50.58%. I mean, you see, it went by the breadth of the hair. The difference was just about 53,000 people. Now, what you need to note here, therefore, folks, is the people, the Canadian government allows them peacefully to go to the polls in free, fair, transparent elections and a referendum to decide their fate. So that when you stay, I made a conscious decision to stay, and I stay because I like it. Not brute force, as Kamto is saying. By fire, by power, you will stay here. No, sir. And you want to know? Because the argument also here say, oh, how many of you are there? And all of us know. The population of Scotland, that has had several referenda already to decide whether they want to stay with Great Britain or be autonomous, be on their own, is 5.454 million. That's, just call it 5.5 million, not up to 5.5, that's 5.45, 5.46. 5.46 million, that was as of 2019. So the population of Scotland is now up to 5.5 million. Mark you, that is less than the population of the Southern Cameroons. The population of Quebec is 8.8 million as of 2022, about the same as the population of the Southern Cameroons, as truncated by La Republique du Cameroun. Now, the population of the Southern Cameroons, of course, they'll say, oh, we are just making estimates. La Republique du Cameroun in successive censuses has done everything to try to indicate that we don't even have up to 3 million people in all of southern Cameroon. But the UNPO, that is the United Nations Unrepresented Nations Organizations, on its website, www.unrepresentedunitednations.org, indicates that according to their estimates in 2018, the population of the southern Cameroon was 6 million. Even leave it at that 6 million. It is way, way over the population of Scotland that has been to referendum twice. Because some people bring some stupid kind of arguments. That's why I bring all of this. Look at this here, folks. When you look at this here, this is from Wikipedia. And when you look at that diagram before you, you see that in 1961, Wikipedia says Southern Cameroon had a flag. That's the flag of Southern Cameroon that you see up there in 1961. But of course, when you achieve independence, you can change it. That's why eventually we changed our flag to blue, white with the stripes and all of that. You see that David Cinq Afrique broadcast in lieu and place of the flag of La Republique du Cameroun. You see that in 1961 we had a coat of arms. I'm broadcasting this for those who continue to make claims that do not exist as a country. And Wikipedia says that in 1987, Southern Cameroon had a population of 2,100,000. Don't forget that in 1987, the population of Cameroon as a whole was 7.7 million. 7.7 million. So of those 7.7 million, Southern Cameroon accounted for 2,100,000. This is according to Wikipedia. That's it that I'm sharing there. 2.1 million in 1987. From 1987 to this day, how many years is that? Calculate it. Calculate it. From 1987, you are getting almost to almost 45 years. If I'm not mistaken, can do that. Just don't mind my old brain. I mean, I can do that quick calculation and give it to you. It's I know that you are calculating too. If you get it before me, drop it on the board. That's 2024, and it was 1987, and of course the answer is 37 years. So 37 years down the road, that's 1987 to 2004. 37 years down the road, where are we today? 2.1 million then. Like Republique Cameroon says their population is today 30 million. In 1987, it was 7.7 million. 7.7 million. Today, they say 30 million. 1987, Southern Cameroon was 2.1 million. So do the progression. We are well over 8 million people in the Southern Cameroons. I say well over 8 million people. So you know this, and it's important. Even when they themselves put us at 20% of their population, do 20% of 30 million, you have getting to 7 million. Don't be fooled. And on the same picture, you see there, Wikipedia says the surface area of the Southern Cameroons is 42,710 square kilometers. That's about 16,490 square miles. Now, when you get this accurate information and everything about the surface area, the this of the Southern Cameroons, it is because we were a country. We have internationally recognized boundaries. We cannot find ourselves bowing to impostors like Maurice Kamto. That is why calls like this ones from Ambassador Thibonagi, the former U.S. Undersecretary of State at the Department of State in charge of the Bureau of African Affairs, he says Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia bleeding goes on. Calls back to February 11, 1961, when British Southern Cameroons voted to join with French Cameroon, but not expecting to end up as second-class citizens. Ambazonians need a new opportunity to decide their future. Of course. But I'm going back to those who are pushing the option of referendum to make you understand that when you listen to Camto today, you should, as a matter of duty, join those of us who are fighting tooth and nail to kick La République du Cameroun out of our territory. Because the only way you ever end up having even to be consulted is that La République du Cameroun must be dragged to the negotiations table. How do you drag La République du Cameroun to the negotiations table? You must continue to make the cost of occupation unbearable. We are almost there. You must continue to give them thorough nose bleeding. You must continue to, decimate their entire presence on our land to the point where the last vestiges of their presence on our land become so negligible that they themselves recognize the need to get out honorably. That's when they will accept to come to the negotiations table. Just sit in one corner, talk referendum morning, afternoon, evening, forget. Because some have said, oh, when Post-Biya passes on and then you have a new administration come on, you can sit down there. Forget, you have heard from Camto. It will be worse. I've said here 1,001 times and I repeat. Post-Biya, president of La République du Cameroun, is a gift to Ambazonia that has not stopped giving. And we must milk the entire gift and make sure we get it right by the time he is kicked out as president of his country. This is the message I had for each and every one of us today. My apologies that we ended up still being a bit long, but it's because this thing you need to know. You need to take time to break this down, and please let's share and share and share as much as we can. Let everyone be able to share in this exercise of knowledge sharing. We must give La République du Cameroun the nose bleeding they deserve to get from our territory so that they can go back to their land, be fighting among themselves while we develop our land. Thank you so much for the time you set aside to share with me on this broadcast on this Saturday. I promise I'll continue to make efforts to come here as much as I can. So we have these exercises so that each and every one of us will be edified on exactly what is going on, so that we will understand the need to continue to support this struggle financially with all our strength. To God and to Him alone be all the glory. Thank you.